Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm Travis Chase with the Monday, July 17 edition of the HGP Nightly News. We have what you need to know this evening. Ayana George opens her newscast tonight. She will tell you that the police on Monday apprehended another prison escapee. 4 are now on the run.
Ranks of the Guyana Police Force have recaptured Cornelius Thomas, one of the men who escaped from the Cam Street prison on July 9th. Police Commander Calvin Brutus tells us more by telephone.
And one of those operations was conducted a few moments ago in the Field Safari area, where Cornelius Thomas was apprehended on the road video.
The other prison escapees on the run are wanted by the police for questioning in relation to murder and escaping lawful custody. Police remind the public that all information will be dealt with discreetly. Anyone with information that may lead to the arrest of the other 4 are asked to contact the police on telephone numbers 225-6411, 225-8196, 225-2227, 227-1149, 226-7065, 911 or the nearest police station. Reporting for HGP Nightly News, Ayana George.
Thank you, Ayana. There is new information regarding the recapture of prisoner Desmond James. A female of interest is being sought by the police. Find out why in this report. Murder-accused Desmond James, who escaped during the July 9 prison fire, is back under lock and key. Commander of West Demerara, Leslie James, has confirmed. He was captured Friday night at Cameron Dam, Canal Number 1. He will appear before a city magistrate soon. By Monday morning, police confirmed to Nightly News that they are in search of a woman who is accused of harboring the then fugitive. Residents of Cameron Dam spoke with Nightly News. They confirmed that a woman had been seen taking food for James, who was seen in this shack. So it was a woman who was there taking care of him?
Yeah, well, she did done left already. And she come with a plastic bag. When she gone out, she come with plastic bag and so on. Bring thing for here or something like that. And she left. And after that, we didn't see the boy back. When see them, I see them 3 little boy going on bed. And I see coming out from the house. So when he coming from the house, now he gone in back. When he see them 3 little boy. Then being pay attention, my sister, I says them family or somebody.
Cameron Dam is mostly populated by Amerindians, and a source familiar with the investigation has related that the shack in which James hid is owned by a family member. Investigators aren't certain if it was that exact family member who harbored James.
I didn't see him before during the daytime or so.
But a woman was there taking care of him?
Yes, from what I understand, yes. A woman was there looking after him, and the woman brought him into the dam.
When police pounced on James, he indicated that he was heading to Essequibo. He was found with a knife and a few pieces of clothing. Police said he surrendered unhesitantly.
I see when I go in the trench, I see the girl coming with a high car and I buy at the back, sit down and say, me said the girl must be bringing some family. I just go in the water, I didn't check. And long after like 10:30 time, my husband come back and we sit down outside and we see them 2 posts up. So we said that this boy is strange, but me see face fully because he went far.
James is a prisoner on remand for the 2014 stabbing death of Glendon Cox at 4 miles Arakaka Village, Northwest District. Police are still hunting Mark Royden Williams, Stafari Alexander, Yuri Varswick, and Kobina Stevens. This is the shack where police captured prison escapee Desmond James. We now know that police want to question a Cameron Dam resident. The lawmen believe that she hid and took care of Desmond James the moment he escaped. Reporting for HGP Nightly News from Cameron Dam on the west bank of Demerara, I am Travis Chase. An interesting development Monday afternoon. President David Granger's interpretation of Guyana's constitution for the appointment of a chairperson for Gecom has been ruled against by Chief Justice Roxanne George Wilshire, who says that there is no preference for judicial persons. Christine Macklingham reports.
The ruling was handed down on Monday when Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire announced that there is no validity that the chairperson of Gecom be a judge, former judge, or person eligible to be a judge, rather than merely being any other fit and proper person, and that persons from each category are equally eligible for the post. Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire's statement is in agreement with the lawyers who represented the Guyana Bar Association and the leader of the opposition on this matter. According to the Chief Justice, the opposition leader could not be fettered to name persons from the first two categories, that is, a person who is a judge, former judge, or a person eligible to be a judge. Although a Gecom chairman does not necessarily have to come from the judicial category, that person is expected to have judge-like qualities and possess integrity, honesty, and impartiality. Delivering her decision on city businessman Marcel Gaskin's request for the High Court to give its interpretation of the Constitution, the Acting Chief Justice struck down all of the arguments by the Attorney General's chambers. Nightly News contacted Attorney General Basil Williams about the Acting Chief Justice's ruling.
Well, we tried to put it together. It wasn't a written judgment. The Solicitor General is trying to give me something.
Reporting for HGP Nightly News, I am Kristen McLingham.
Thank you there, Kristen. The Guyana Police Force is appealing to the escapees, if you guys are watching this broadcast, to surrender to the police or relevant authority to avoid any serious confrontation that is likely to result in the use of force. And a special note to relatives: if you have any relevant information as to the whereabouts of these escapees so that they can be captured and returned to the prison, do not help them in any way. You could be charged. The police is assuring that the rights of those escapees will be respected and upheld. All information will be treated with a high degree of confidentiality, according to the police. Those involved in the gutting of the Camp Street prison will be prosecuted, but as of now, there is uncertainty as to who shot and killed the prison warden on duty. More from Jevon Vickery.
Fire Chief Marlon Gentle had said that the fires were believed to have started in 6 different locations within the confines of the prison. The move to identify those involved in the devastation will commence soon, even those involved in the murder of a prison warden and the physical injury to several others.
And we don't know who really did that. The investigation may be able to determine to some extent who those persons are. Yes, it's a crime and persons will be prosecuted.
Minister of Public Security Kamraj Ramjatan and Commissioner of Police Tilak Prasad speaking to Nightly News on Friday. Meanwhile, Director of Prisons Gladwin Samuels responded to a host of questions pertaining to the entry of contraband in the prison facilities, asserting that every time an inmate leaves or enters the prison, they're checked by wardens. But inmates have been giving the police more work.
They have, they're burying some of the improvised weapons that they have in their possession. So it is difficult for us to conduct those searches in an adequate way because of the resistance we are getting from them. And I'm quite sure that it will not be a sensible thing to provoke a situation upon a situation. So at the appropriate time, the necessary searches will be conducted, and those persons will be raided of all contrabands that they have in possession.
Mr. Samuels explained that the police and other law enforcement agents will continue to stringently monitor the situation. Jevon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
The beefing up of security in the west side since the gutting of the Camp Street prison on July 9 has led to the recapture of 2 prison escapees there, and police in D Division are still on high alert for the others. Kristen McLingham has more.
2 escaped prisoners who made their break during the recent fire at the Camp Street jail have been recaptured on the west coast and west bank of Demerara less than 1 week after their escape. Additional security measures are reportedly in place as the hunt continues for the other escapees, says Commander of D Division Leslie James.
At the moment, we do have regular roadblocks mounted at some specific points within the division, and we've been having cooperation from the general public. Information keep coming in about us, and some, different information keep coming in. And I should also state that there's no need to be alarmed because the situation is not out of control. It's one where we do have a posture in place.
Commander James explained that his ranks have been working around the clock to ensure that citizens are safe and that every report which the police stations receive as it relates to information about prison escapees is being investigated. As such, the police force is relying on the public to assist in the capturing of the prison escapees.
And we'll take in any information. Any sightings of such person, just call us on our operations number and we can take that information. We do not need your name, we don't need a number. All we need is that information and we will be taking action.
Reporting for HGP Nightly News, I am Kristen Macklingham.
Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan has recused herself from a trial involving a senior police officer who allegedly threatened to kill a subordinate rank. No reason was given for her worship's decision. Here are the details from Jevon Vickery.
When the matter was called on Monday, Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan announced, without providing any reason, that she was no longer presiding over the matter involving Assistant Superintendent of Police Frank Thompson for allegedly making threatening remarks towards a subordinate rank. The Chief Magistrate, however, transferred the matter to City Magistrate Fabio Ozor. Police prosecutor Stephen Telford is expected to call 6 witnesses when the trial commences on July 25. Thompson had pleaded not guilty to the charge, which stated that he used abusive language to Police Constable Leanna Gillis. The court heard that on the day in question, Thompson's vehicle had crashed into another. The driver then approached Constable Gillis, who was told of the incident, and that was when Thompson intervened. According to the allegations, when Thompson was approached by the virtual complainant, he responded abusively and even threatened to kill the driver of the car as well as the occupants of the vehicle. Police Constable Gillis then made a report and ASP Thompson was escorted to the Brigdam Police Station by Gillis and Police Corporal Jones. Thompson was granted $60,000 bail on each of the charges. Jevon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Jevon. The bullet has been extracted from the lower back of the Agricola housewife who was shot during a shootout between police and suspects last week. Her relatives spoke with Kristen Macklingham.
Agricola housewife, 63-year-old Parmal Day, also known as Gallo, who was shot in her hammock at her house when police and a suspect were engaged in a shootout, has been released from the hospital. The bullet, which had been lodged in her lower back, has been removed, and the family is calling on the Guyana Police Force to obtain the medical records from the private hospital where Parmal Day was treated to ascertain whose bullet hit the woman. According to her daughter Elita, her mother still has a fragment of a bullet in her left hand. Doctors reportedly cannot remove this because of its potential to adversely affect the woman's nervous system. Meanwhile, Commander of A Division Marlon Chapman, in a telephone interview with Nightly News on Monday, stated that the suspect, who was arrested during the shootout with police ranks at Agricola, is still hospitalized and that the matter of the Agricola woman being shot is currently being investigated by the Police Office of Professional Responsibility.
Yeah, I remember the guy was shot. He was shot by the police after he shot at them, allegedly. Yeah, but a shotgun was found on him, so he's in hospital, so he was shot. He's not charged as yet.
Now that the private hospital treated her, would the police be contacting them to see the results of the bullet and all of that?
Well, of course. The police will have to be involved because, it's a shooting. But that matter has not been investigated by our Office of Professional Responsibility.
Reporting for HGP Nightly News, I am Kristen Macklingham.
The stray catching fee has increased 5-fold from $1,000 per stray animal to $5,000, but stray animals still roam the streets of Georgetown. Jevon Vickery reports on this dangerous trend.
This is downtown Georgetown this Monday morning. Horses grazing in Main Street outside of State House all the way down to Palm Court. The stray catching unit has played its part in preventing road accidents involving animals. But according to Minister of Public Security Kamraj Ramjatan, citizens ought to do more to keep their animals off the roads. For 2017, the stray catching unit of the Ministry of Public Security has caught hundreds of animals. The Pounds Amendment Bill passed in the National Assembly in April 2010 provides for a fee of $5,000 to be paid to a stray catcher or any other person for every animal he or she takes to the pound. These include horses, ponies, cows, sheep, goats, and other domestic animals. Mr. Ramjatan explained that while consideration has been given for farmers in areas prone to flooding, owners of domestic animals should do their part to keep their animals out of harm's way.
Take care of your animals, but I could understand in this wet weather, it's a little difficult. And so we all have to give a little. We all have to take a little, because that's how the society is going to be run. Let's be reasonable. That's all we're asking, and behave like civilized people. So yes, we're going to ask the the farmers and the animal owners to make sure that their animals do not stay on the road, get it off the road as quickly as possible.
Minister Ramjatan further noted that recklessness on the part of drivers has also been the cause of accidents involving animals. He made this call to drivers.
Then I'm pleading with drivers, be a little more careful. You know, if a driver be careful, they're not going to be accident with an animal. And you know, sometimes you want to know who's the real animal, if it's the driver or the cow. So it is important that drivers behave like humans, and the cow will always behave like a cow.
Prior to the amendment, the act was revised in 2007, increasing the fee from $30 to $1,000. The ministry built and rehabilitated 17 pounds countrywide in 2009. Javon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
The Ministry of Public Health is striving to scale up mental health services in Guyana through effective problem management training for health professionals. Ina George reports.
The Mental Health Unit, PAHO WHO, and the Ministry of Public Health have pooled their resources to improve quality, appropriateness, and responsiveness of mental health services in Guyana. Medical professionals, social and community workers commenced 5 days of training on Monday at the Marriott Hotel. I spoke with Director of the Mental Health Unit, Dr. Util Richmond Thomas, about the program.
And we will be training the staff at the health centers in order for them to set up a functional counseling facility, hopefully at every health center in the country. We'll be training the NGOs to deliver that intervention as well, so that the clients can have choices. If they don't want to go to the public system, they can go to an NGO. You know, mental health has a lot of stigma associated with it.
Participants are being trained by 2 overseas facilitators on problem solving and behavioral strategies to better administer health care and prevention methods to persons suffering from trauma leading to suicide. Dr. Thomas further added that the thrust of Mental Health Unit is to build capacity in all 10 administrative regions.
Once we give the staff in the region the necessary skills to carry out the interventions and so on, they need not rely solely on the central unit. So I'm looking more to beef up the regions.
From the Guyana Marriott, reporting for HGP Nightly News, I'm Ayana George.
Thank you, Ayana. Your sportscast is ahead.
I'm Calvin Chapman with the HGP Sportscast. Good evening. The Georgetown Amateur Basketball Association, in collaboration with Bank ZIH through their Malta Supreme, Powerade and Rainforest Water brand, continued with Night 5 of their first, second, and under-23 division tournaments, which are all being played simultaneously. Due to the inclement weather, play was moved from the scheduled playing venue, Bornham Court, to the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall on Saturday evening. 3 matches were played, with the first scheduled to start at 6 p.m. That game, however, bounced off an hour later, an under-23 encounter between UG Trojans and Cobras. The University lads won that game convincingly 101-63, a much-needed win for the Trojans that will help boost team morale after successive humiliating defeats to Eagles in the under-23 and second divisions. Kadeem Peterkin and Shaquille Adonis both scored 17 points in the collective effort for UG. For Cobras, Akeem Morrison's game-high 19 points, supported by Amoniki John 17 points, were not enough to overcome UG Trojans, who were starving for a win. The second match was in the first division between reigning champions Bounty Colts and Knights. Bounty made very light work of the Knights as they blew them out by almost 50 points in a 103-55 victory. It was business as usual for the number one club in Georgetown, Colts, as they raced to a 20-point lead in the first quarter that finished 34-14. It could have been a more embarrassing scorecard for the Knights, but they managed to curb Colts scoring in the third quarter with only 16 points being netted in that period of play to increase their tally to 87 after finishing the first half on 71 points. Shelroy Thomas was on fire in the win. He scored 26 points, sinking 3 three-pointers in the process. Adding to the rout were Shane Webster with 19 points, Sheldon Thomas, who scored 14 points, including 2 three-pointers, and Errol Dryden, 9 points. The third and final game of Night 5, the second First Division match of the night, which was contested between Pepsi Sonics and Ravens, was the closest of the 3 games played. Ravens won that game 62-43. The 40-minute match was very close throughout. Prior to the start of the fourth quarter, Ravens led marginally with the score 42-40. Disappointingly, Sonics only managed to score 3 points in the fourth quarter against the Ravens' 20 points, failing to show any fight as the Sonics suffered a fourth quarter blowout. Dominic Vincent was the main man for Ravens in the good team win with a leading 15 points. Ryan Gullin supported with 10 points, Trevor Smith 9 points, and Earl O'Neill 8 points were the main contributors for the losers, Pepsi Sonics. Over to hockey. GCC Vintage delivered once again as the surprise winners of the men's competition in the Noble House Goals Galore Indoor Hockey Championships by toppling the previously unbeaten Bounty GCC in a thrilling men's final. The Pizza Hut GCC ladies completed the club's domination of the competition with an easy win over Saints to win the female trophy. After a tiring semi-final battle against the Old Fort Hockey Club Warriors, which ended in favor of Vintage by a meager 1-goal margin, the veteran side found themselves opposite unbeaten Bounty GCC in the men's final of the competition. Vintage began with a 6-goal handicap, which was one more than Bounty's 5. Vintage scored in the first match through Devin Monroe. Bounty midfielder Mark Sargent managed to draw one back for his side 4 minutes later. Vintage then rattled off 3 more unanswered goals. In response, Bounty GCC made a late surge with 2 penalty corner goals from the tournament highest goal scorer Kevin Spencer, but they left the task for too long and were left 2 goals shy of drawing even with a 10-8 full-time scoreline in favor of GCC Vintage. The Cinderella ladies of Saints danced their way through to the finals despite being huge underdogs against far more experienced sides. After a hard-fought semi-final battle against the Woodpecker Hikers, where Saints held off the opposition to secure a 39 victory, Saints faced the powerful Pizza Hut GCC, who won all their matches by comfortable margins. GCC started on 0 while Saints enjoyed a 12-goal handicap. It took GCC 5 minutes to get their first breakthrough, but no time after that to get their second. The Pizza Hut ladies piled on the pressure and amassed 8 goals by the first half to see the scores at 12-8, still in favor of Saints. GCC managed to duplicate their first half efforts with 8 more goals in the second half, cruising to a 16-12 victory. The 5 leading goal scorers of the tournament each made a mark on the match, with Marzana Fidku and Gabrielle Javert netting 4 each. Tournament top scorers Sonia Jardine and Alia Gordon scoring hat-tricks, and Carenza Finance topping it off with a double. In cricket, Trinidad and Tobago extended their unbeaten run at the Cricket West Indies Regional Under-17 tournament with a crushing 8-wicket victory over Guyana at the Queen's Park Oval on Saturday. The Trinidad and Tobago spinners continued their dominant form in the tournament, with Samir and Nicholas Ali ripping through the Guyana batting lineup. They combined for 8 wickets as Guyana were dismissed for 38 from 22.3 overs. Trinidad and Tobago finished on 39 runs for 2 wickets off 17 overs to claim the win. Leg spinner Samir bamboozled the Guyana batsmen to finish with figures of 6 wickets for 9 runs from 6.3 overs. Left-arm spinner Nicholas, who has been one of the most economical bowlers at the tournament, had another miserly spell that yielded 2 wickets for 5 runs from 6 overs. The national under-17 team picked up invaluable fast bowling points from Jaden Seals and Ronaldo Forrester, despite the spinners taking the bulk of the wickets. The Quicks played an integral role in the victory. The new ball pair removed Guyana opening batsman Alex Algu 5 and Sachin Singh Duck to set the stage for the spin attack. Samir and Nicholas proved to be a handful as they bowled with variation and guile. They complemented each other perfectly as the Guyanese batsmen found it difficult to score, which was also aided by good fielding. Trinidad and Tobago skipper Mbeki Joseph led the way with 23 runs off 29 balls, which included 3 boundaries. The left-handed batsman was caught by Algu of Junior Sinclair's bowling, leaving Avinash Maharbir Singh 4 not out and Michael Ambard 12 not out to see the hosts to their 3rd victory of the tournament. In tennis, the Guyana Tennis Association is preparing to host its 13th PMP Insurance Brokers Junior Tennis Camp starting today. Children between the ages of 6 to 11 will be trained at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall from 9 a.m., while those between the ages of 12 to 18 will be trained at the National Racket Center at Camp and Wolford Avenue from 12 noon. The camp is the most significant annual junior development event after the end of the school year, and it usually attracts at least 50 young children who enjoy learning the rudimentary principles of playing tennis in a fun and creative environment. The camp provides a potent avenue for the introduction of many new players to clubs for further training. The camp runs from today, Monday, July 17th to Friday, August 4th on weekdays only. Players can register by calling 645-2901. And that's all we have for you in the HGP Sportscast. It's now back to you, Travis.
Prisoners recaptured. 4 more still on the run. Female of interest being sought by the police. Chief Justice upholds Bar Association's argument. President Granger's interpretation of Gecom chair clause shut down. And medical professionals being trained to better tackle mental health issues. Those were our major headlines. For these stories and more, you can go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. Or you can join us on our Facebook page at HGP Nightly News. I'm Travis Chase. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.